In the 24-25 season, Parma will be back in the Serie A, which is made all the more impressive considering they've been reformed due to bankruptcy twice. Parma, once famously home to world-class players such as Herman Crespo, Gianluigi Buffon and Fabio Cannavaro, dropped as low as Serie D with their financial issues, which honestly is absolutely mind-blowing. So Parma fans have had a real tough time in recent years, so today we are going to change that, as we are going to jump into FC24, take charge of Parma and win them a Champions League trophy. And if you do enjoy the content, please make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel, as it really does help me out. Let's get Parma rebuilt. So this is the Parma team we've loaded into, and I'm not surprised they've been promoted to the Serie A. This team's looking pretty good. However, it's clear to see that we are lacking an out-and-out striker and lacking a centre-back, as they're both under 70 rated. Chiesatti and Bonnet are both only 19 years old, so they'll definitely have good potential. And I'm also a fan of the 4-2-3-1 formation, so we're definitely sticking with this formation. And this squad is actually stacked with young, high potential players, so some of these players could be with us at the end of the rebuild. So in season 1, I'm actually going to give Bonnet and Chiesatti a chance in the first team, and hopefully they'll grow by 4, 5, maybe even 6 overalls. But we definitely are bringing in a new goalkeeper, as Chitizola is 72 rated and 33 years old. And if we have any leftover funds, I want to bring in a centre-back to replace Osorio, as he is 29 years old and 70 rated and will not grow by much more. In season 1, we do have 33 million euros in the bank, but we have increased our budget by 10 million, as Parma's budget will be slightly bigger now that they're in Serie A. And the tactical vision we are going for this rebuild is the tiki-taka tactical vision, as our midfield is easily the strongest part of our team, so we need to play to our current strengths. So we have identified our first potential target of the Parma rebuild, and this is a man who has really impressed at the recent Euros with Italy, and it is rumoured he will be joining Arsenal, and that man is Riccardo Calafiore of Bologna. He's 21 years old, 76 rated, and he falls well in our price range, as we will be able to pick him up for as little as 19.1 million. Let's get this man to Parma. And what a bargain this is. Calafiore is ours for 20 million, and that does leave us with 13 million in the bank to bring in a goalkeeper. And lads, this rebuild has got off to an absolutely outstanding start. The man we've literally just been talking about, Alessandro Chiesatti, has left the club to Celta Vigo for 2.6 million euros, as I didn't know he actually had a release clause, and I've simulated straight past it and he has left the club. So given the fact that we have lost Chiesatti due to my stupidity, we now need a new centre-back as well as a goalkeeper, and with such limited funds we have had to dip into the free agents list to bring 2 new faces to the club. The first is Chiesatti's replacement, Jesus Angulo. He's 74 rated, 25-year-old, will do a job for us for a couple of seasons, but he will probably need to be replaced in a few seasons time. And we have made a big upgrade in the goalkeeper position, as we have brought in Luis Malagon. He's 76 rated, 26 years old. My only concern is that he's 5'11", which is not ideal for a goalkeeper, but that's 2 solid signings that do make us a lot better at the back. And we are now left with 8 million euros in the bank, which we can use to bring in some new coaches, renew contracts, and get our youth academy kick-started. So our defence has been massively improved in this window, as we've brought in Calafiore, Angulo and Malagon. I do think the team is looking much better on paper. I'm just hoping Bonnet can grow quite a bit in the striker position, as we are going to be entrusting him this season. So that will be our transfer window finished in terms of incomings. This will be the team that takes us through to the end of season 1. I do think we should have just enough on paper to stay in the division, and I'm hoping to see some of our players grow pretty nicely, as we've got such a young squad. If any outgoings occur, I will let you know about them at the end of season 1. As of right now, we're simulating forward straight through to the end of the season, and as we already know, survival is the aim. So we've arrived at the end of season 1, boys, and I'm surprised to say that we finished 9th in Serie A, which in my opinion is an absolutely excellent season on 52 points. There is a massive gap though between us and Napoli, who finished in 8th. However, we have definitely set the foundations to build from, and with the right additions we can definitely try and push up the table next season. So in the Coppa Italia, we were knocked out in the round of 16 by Inter Milan 3-1, no shame in that. Now, finishing the season, the squad is actually looking a little bit stronger than I anticipated. Calafiore has reached 80 rated along with Malagon, the goalkeeper. Bernabe has had a brilliant season at centre attacking midfield, going to 79 rated, and Bonnie has grown by 5 overall to 72 rated, which we do like to see. So the squad is definitely starting to take shape, and we have got some building blocks in place for success. However, we desperately need to bring in at least 2 new central midfielders next season, as Estevez and Cyprien are just not good enough. And a left back is an absolute priority, as Di Chiara is 70 rated. That is not going to cut it. So 2 centre midfielders and a left back in season 2 is what we're after, but we need the funds to be able to do that though. And we are currently sitting on a transfer budget of 14 million euros, which will get added to next season's budget. So I'm hoping we'll get around 50 million. And in terms of stats, Dennis Mann was our best player, getting 15 goals and 5 assists on the right midfield position. Banabe was excellent as well, getting 14 and 9. And Bonnet hardly even played, but still scored 14 goals, which I'm really impressed with. So that is officially season 1 in the history books. We've had a pretty decent season on the pitch. It's now time to get into season 2 and start improving our squad. So we've arrived in season 2, and talk about ask and you shall receive. We have actually got a transfer budget of 50 million, meaning we should definitely be able to sort out our squad with this money. And in this transfer window, you will likely notice that a hell of a lot of players are going to leave the club, as we have listed absolutely loads of deadwood up for sale and 2 young players up for loan. And as we can see, boys, a mass amount of players have left the club, as we have offloaded so much deadwood in this window, along with loaning quite a few players out. And now it's time to start bringing some players through the door. And we have got a nice healthy budget of 70 million euros after those outgoings. So kicking off our transfer window, we will be bringing in 2 central midfield players first, and the first guy we have identified is Giovanni Fabian of Bologna. He's 21 years old, 75 rated, looks a very attacking player on paper, and he is very affordable, as Bologna will be looking for anywhere between 13.9 and 17.4 million. So let's get this man to Parma. And Fabian is in for 14 million, and that means we do still have 53 million euros in the bank. So the next player we want to bring through the door here at Parma is another central midfielder who's more defense minded, and this man is Edoardo Bove of Roma. He is 22 years old, 76 rated, got really nice stats, and once again is very affordable, as Roma will be looking for anywhere between 14.7 and 18.4 million euros, meaning we can definitely bring him to Parma. And Bove joins the club for just 15 million euros, and we have now got 2 outstanding young talents in the centre of our midfield. And with Bove and Fabian in the centre of the park, all we are now missing is a left back. And boys, oh my god, have we just made an insane left back signing, as we have splashed 29 million euros to bring Ian Matson to the club from Chelsea. He's 80 rated, 22-year-old, absolutely rapid and some brilliant stats. And this man is absolutely insane in FC24, and I do not actually believe we've used him today. That leaves us with 2 million euros in the bank, meaning our transfer window is definitely finished. And that means that this will be the Parma team to take us into season 2, and by adding Fabian, Bove and Matson to this squad, we are looking much more competitive on paper. Now, as of right now, I'm not anticipating any more outgoings in this window, so we are going to be simulating forward straight through to the end of season 2. We've brought in the reinforcements, brought some very good young players to the club, and I'm really hopeful we can have just a successful season as last one. So we've arrived at the end of season 2, and we have made some minor progression on the pitch, as we have finished 8th in the league on 60 points. What we have done though is close that massive gap between us and the rest of the division. We were only 7 points off a Europa Conference League place, so who knows, with the right additions we could actually get into Europe next season. But I'm pretty happy at the fact we have actually made some progression in the season. Now, in the Coppa Italia, it was semi-final heartache, as Milan beat us 5-2 over 2 legs, and then they would go on to win the Milan derby in the final, beating Inter 2-0. So this is how the team is looking at the end of season 2, and we have now got a handful of players over 80 rated in Banabe, Bove, Calafiore, Matson and Malagon, with Man and Fabian not far behind. We have seen some really solid growth across the entire team this season, and that does bring a big smile to my face. Going into season 3, we have got to improve in the right back position, as Del Prato is 76 rated and no longer growing. We could bring in a new striker, but Bonnet is growing by 5 overalls per season. He's 21 and 76 rated, so I am going to give him a bit more time to develop. And after we've brought in a right back, we will be looking to bring in a left midfielder to replace Benedizak. Our training system is telling us it's going to take 100+ weeks before he grows to 79 rated, which says to me he has not got much more development left in him. So the primary targets for season 3, right back, left midfielder. Now, in terms of stats, Adrian Benedizak was actually our best player, getting 19 goals and 6 assists, closely followed by Johan Bobby, who got 19 and 4. So let's progress on now to season 3 and get some signings through the door. So we've arrived in season 3, and we've got a very nice transfer budget of 56 million euros. So we are once again kicking off our transfer window with a raft of outgoings. The man we were looking to replace, Adrian Benedizak, has joined Valencia for 24.9 million, and in that time he's jumped bumped up by 3 overalls. What is this game doing to me at all? He was 78 rated when we sold him, and he's gone to Valencia and instantly jumped to 81 rated. Anthony Partipillo has joined Sassuolo for 6.2 million, leaving us with 88 million euros in the bank to improve our team. And now let's get into the incomings. We have identified a winger who we want to bring to the club, and that man is Abdul Fatawu of Sporting CP. 81 rated, 21-year-old. Them stats are brilliant. Sporting are going to want anywhere between 37.4 and 46.8 million, meaning we can definitely afford him, and we are definitely bringing this man to Parma. And Fatawu is now ours for 40 million euros, and we are now in the process of training Fatawu to be a left winger instead. And after that signing, we're left with 45 million euros in the bank to bring in a right back. So with our remaining 45 million euros, we are in the market for a right back, and we have identified the man Thiago Santos of Lille. Is 23 years old, 80 rated, really well-rounded stats. He can also get forward, which is really advantageous, and he falls well within our price range, as Lille will be expecting a maximum of 38.4 million, but I definitely think we can get him in for a much lower fee than that. And we have brought Santos in for 30 million euros, leaving us with 15 million in the bank, which we're going to use to bring in coaches, youth academy players and renew contracts, meaning our transfer window is officially finished. And after adding Fatawu and Santos to our starting 11, that team is now looking absolutely fantastic, and I'm hoping we'll have enough to get into the Conference League at the least this season. So Fatawu and Santos are only signings of season 3, and I'm absolutely delighted with the transfer window we have just had. We are now simulating forward straight through to the end of the season, and I'm hoping to see us in some kind of European competition. So we've arrived at the end of season 3, boys, and honestly, I'm a little bit shocked at what I am looking at. We have actually finished second in Serie A on 88 points, only losing 4 times all season, 3 points off top of the table Juventus, showing monumental improvement in results on the pitch this season. And honestly, I was not expecting us to do this well, and this does mean that in season 4 we are playing in the Champions League, and we have added our first trophy to the trophy cabinet, as we have won the Coppa Italia, beating Napoli 4-2 in the final. So this is how the team is looking at the end of season 3, and it's safe to say we have now got a top end Serie A squad on paper, with Ian Matson, Fatawu, Bove and Calafiore being our standout players. Now looking at the team, it is pretty obvious where we need to improve, and Gulo and Bonnet do need replacing, as they're both not even 80 rated. We are going to keep Bonnet at Parma for a little bit longer, as he's 22-year-old and 79 rated. He will be a good impact player for us, but we definitely need a Champions League quality centre-back and a Champions League quality striker adding to this team. Now looking at the stats, Abdul Fatawu was absolutely outstanding, getting 25 goals and 5 assists, closely followed by Yohan Bonnet, who will be getting replaced. He got 17 and 5. So an absolutely outstanding third season in the history book. It's now time to get into the season 4 and get our squad ready for the Champions League. So we've arrived in season 4, boys, and we have got 108 million euros to spend on a striker and a centre-back. And kicking off our transfer window, boys, we have had some outgoings. Valentin Mihaila has joined Getafe for 8.8 million. Anas Haj Mohammed has joined Pendixspor for 900 grand. And we have sold Jesus Angulo to Leipzig for 20 million. And we are now left with 139 million euros to spend. And I physically cannot rebuild an Italian side without bringing in Giorgio Scalvini. Got really good stats, 6'4", and he falls well into our price range. Let's get him to the club. And Scalvini is in for 56.4 million euros, leaving us with 77 million in the bank to bring in a striker. And the striker we have identified to bring to Parma is none other than Moise Kean, currently at Brighton. He is 26-year-old, 84 rated, got really nice stats. However, this is going to be a very pricey deal, as Brighton may want up to 70 million for him, but I'm confident we can get him for cheaper than that. And we have brought Moise Kean back to Italy for 60 million euros. Now that leaves us with just 10 million in the bank, which we're going to use for contracts, youth academy players and coaches. So that is most likely our transfer window completely finished. So after the signings of Scalvini and Kean, this is going to be the team that takes us into season 4, and it is looking very strong on paper. I'm hoping we'll see another nice season of growth and have a few players reach 85 rated alongside Matson, and I'm very confident we can give a very good account of ourselves in the Champions League with this squad. So that is the end of our transfer window, lads. No further incomings or outgoings, but our first Champions League group has been drawn, and it is a bit of a difficult group. We have got Liverpool, Celta Vigo and Dynamo Kiev. We should definitely get through this group. I do think we are the second strongest side in it, but time will tell, and the only way to find out is to simulator forward straight through to the end of Season 4 and see how we got on in the Champions League. So we've arrived at the end of Season 4, boys, and last season it was a massive achievement to finish second. This season it is heartbreaking as we lose out on the league title by just 1 point. We even scored 100 league goals and it was just not enough to get us over the line. I cannot lie, boys, I'm absolutely gutted. However, we did win the Italian Super Cup, so the second trophy of this rebuild is added to the cabinet as we beat Napoli 2-1 in the final. But we did not retain the Coppa Italia as Roma knocked us out in the quarters on penalties. Now in the Champions League, we give a really good account of ourselves, getting all the way to the quarterfinals where Man City knocked us out 6-3 over 2 legs. I think that's very, very solid for our first season in the Champions League. So this is how the team is looking at the end of Season 4, and it is actually looking extremely strong on paper. We have got some world-class players now playing for Parma, like Ian Maatsen, Scalvini, Bove, Fatewu and Keane. We have definitely set the foundations to push on and challenge for a Champions League trophy. However, there are 2 areas of this team that are the weakest, and that is our right midfielder and our goalkeeper. But that is where we're going to look to improve in Season 5. And surely this is not right. Moise Keane has scored 51 goals in 49 games. And if we look to the competitions, he scored 39 goals in 36 games in the Serie A. I don't think in the entirety of FC24 I have ever had a player score more goals than they have played games. That is absolutely ridiculous. Genuinely, I don't know what to say. In all my years of rebuilding teams, I have never ever seen this. And genuinely, I hope he keeps up this form because we'll win a Champions League in no time. So that's Season 4 done. Let's now get into Season 5, bring in a winger and a goalkeeper and try to improve in the league and the Champions League. We've arrived in Season 5 and we have got 155 million euros to improve our squad. And our first signing of Season 5 is going to be an absolute blockbuster as we are looking to bring in Marco Carnesecchi of Atalanta. He's 87 rated, 27-year-old. Them stats are insane, 94 reflexes. But this is going to be a very costly deal as Atalanta will want up to 110 million, but we will use Malagon as part of the deal. And for 70 million euros and Malagon, we have signed Carnesecchi, leaving us with 82 million euros to bring in a right winger. And boys, in this window, we also need a right midfielder, and I am going back in for a player who's been outstanding for me in previous rebuilds, and that man is Wilfried Gnonto. He's currently playing for Bayern Munich. He's 83 rated, 23-year-old, really good stats. And because his contract is expiring in 12 months' time, we can get him for well below his market value. And for just 42 million, we have signed Wilfried Gnonto. And that now leaves us with 29 million euros. And realistically, 29 million euros does not get you a player who gets into the starting 11. And that starting 11 is now looking extremely strong on paper. We've arrived at the end of the transfer window, boys, and there's been no further incomings, but we have sold a few players. Simon Sommer has joined Ajax for 4.8 million. Antoine Hagnout has joined FC Botassane for 490 grand. We have loaned out youth academy graduate Max Gallo to FC Lugano. We have sold a youth academy player Luca Fiore to RC Lens for 3 million. We have loaned out Flavio Marchetti, and we've also loaned out Elia Greco to Lecce. So our transfer window is done and our Champions League group has been drawn, and we have got Real Sociedad, Stade Rennais and RB Salzburg. I do think this is a pretty well-rounded, difficult group with every team capable of going through, and I would like to say that we should be getting through this group. There's only one way to find out if we do, and that's by simulating forward straight through to the end of Season 5. We've arrived at the end of Season 5, boys, and we have finally won the Serie A on 88 points, 3 clear of Juventus. And after 2 seasons of coming so close to winning the league, we have finally done it in Season 5. However, we did not retain the Super Cup as Atalanta beat us 3-2 in the semi-finals. And there would be no Coppa Italia as well this season as Juventus knocked us out 3-2 over 2 legs. And in the Champions League, we got so close to a Champions League final, getting knocked out in the semi-finals by AC Milan 3-2 over 2 legs. Hopefully, we can go one step further next season. So this is the Parma team at the end of Season 5, and that team is absolutely stacked on paper, boys. It's hard to say where we can even improve this team. It's looking so strong. However, I will be replacing Fabian in the centre of midfield. He's 84 rated, the lowest rated player in the starting 11, and I feel if we can bring an absolute world-class set of midfielder to the club, that should push us on to a UCL final. Now, in terms of stats, Moise Keane could not repeat scoring 50 goals like he did in Season 4. He was still our top scorer though, getting 34 goals in 55 games, which is an insane return. Gnonto had a great first season back in Italy, getting 26 goals in 48 games. and Abdul Fatewu proving to be an amazing pickup. 23 goals yet again in the Serie A. So we've finally won the league title. We've won a Coppa Italia in the past. All that's left to do now, boys, is win a Champions League trophy. So we've arrived in season 6 and we have got 211 million euros to bring in a central midfielder, and we can genuinely bring in any central midfield player that we want to. Now, with seemingly unlimited money in the bank, there's only one midfield player on my mind, and that is Fabio Miretti of Newcastle United. He's 88 rated, 24-year-old. His stats are absolutely unbelievable. Almost every stat 80 rated. It's going to be an eye-watering transfer fee, but I don't care. We are bringing this man to Parma, and we have just forked out 140 million on Fabio Miretti. And after doing a bit of research, that is our most expensive signing of FC24 so far. And after the signing of Miretti, we're left with 58 million in the bank, which I don't think we can use to improve the team, so that is probably going to be our only incoming of the window. So we've arrived at the end of the transfer window. We've had no further incomings, and surprisingly, not one single outgoing in this window, and our Champions League group is in, and it is considerably more difficult than last season, as we have got Arsenal, Leipzig and Fenerbahce. Some very difficult away ties there, but I do feel like our squad is definitely the strongest on paper, and I'm really hoping we can get through this group, because this team is absolutely unbelievable on paper, and I'm really hoping we can go all the way this season, and there's only one way to find out: by simulating forward straight through to the end of this current season. So we've arrived at the end of season 6, boys, and we have gone back to back winning consecutive Serie A titles, and this season we were massively impressive. 90 points on the board, 10 clear of Juventus, only losing 2 of our 38 games this season. That is absolutely insane, and we thoroughly deserve to win the Serie A. Now, in the Coppa Italia, we didn't even get out of the round of 16 where Roma beat us on penalties. That's a disgrace. But there's one big saving grace, boys. We are in the Champions League final, and it's an all-Italian tie, AC Milan v Parma. Now, in the group stage, we only lost once and won 5, finishing on 15 points, topping the group. We then beat Lille 4-3 over 2 legs, coming from 3-0 down to win 4-0 in the second leg. That is insane. In the quarterfinals, we battered Barcelona 6-2 over 2 legs, and we would also batter PSG 5-1 over 2 legs as well to set up a tie against AC Milan. And our team going into the final is absolutely unbelievable on paper. No player under 86 rated in the starting 11. We've got 90 rated players in Miretti and Carnesecchi, 89 rated players in Matson, Keane and Scalvini. This team is excellent. We just need to get the job done in the final. Now, in terms of stats, wow, this is a bit of a weird one, boys. It's clear to see that our defence has got us to the Champions League final, as we kept 18 clean sheets, and our top scorer only scored 21 goals. To be fair, there's at least 9 players in the team who scored over 10 goals, so the goals are a lot more shared out this season. But I'm really surprised. We've been smashing so many goals in recent seasons, and this season our top scorer can only manage 21. That's a bit strange. But forget all that. All that's left to do is take on AC Milan at the Olimpiastadion for the Champions League trophy. So here we go, boys. It's Champions League final time. Let's get this job done, lads. Come on. One of the few non-Italians in the team into Miretti. We've got a bit of distance here. Miretti, ooh, good effort from distance, well held by Magnan, the first shot of the game. Fatewu, Bov, Gnotto, Keane, whoa! Yes, Fatewu, it's 1-0, that would have been such a good goal. Look at this little flick from Gnotto, a lovely effort from Keane, that hits the post, but Fatewu is unmarked at the edge of the 6-yard box to smash the ball home. What a flick by Wilfried Gnonto, and that is a start that we have definitely deserved. We just feel so much better than Milan. But Chuck Wazy again's away on the wing, and we need to start. Oh, that's brilliant from Miretti. That's a good tackle from Miretti, who's just absolutely everywhere. We can get away on this wing here with Fatewu. I feel like Gnotto won't win the header, and that's an absolutely woeful cross. And that's going to be half time, boys. I can't lie, this is the most comfortable I've ever felt in a Champions League final, but we do only have a 1-goal lead, and there's not been many clear-cut chances. And in the stadium where England have just lost the Euro final, I would love nothing more than to lift the Champions League trophy right now. Good ball. Fatewu. Oh, cuts in. Bov. Miretti, what a goal this will be. Oh my god, what a goal by Miretti. The movement, the passing, what a goal that is. And lads, oh, Bernabe who scored, not Miretti. I'm here. blowing smoke up Miretti's arse, and it's Bernabe who scored. Look at this for movement though, bounce to both, one pass into Bernabe, one touch, and he just rifles into the corner. It's a 2-goal lead, it's a deserved 2-goal lead, and it does now feel like this tie could be over, lads. Just so you know, boys, Rafa Leao is actually on the pitch, Milan. He just can't get a touch of the ball. Oh, Bov, I'm going to have to, Anna. Bov, oh, like you were heading in. Not all, Bov, that's too easy. Backstick, I've seen you, Matson. I'm going to pull it back instead for Bernabe. It's a brilliant block, wow. Smash long by Magnan. One, but it's not going to be enough. We have won the Champions League with Parma, smashing Milan in the final. 2-0 win, complete domination, and in the stadium where I've just watched England lose in a Euro final, we are now going to be lifting the Champions League trophy with Parma. Now all that's left to do is watch Parma lift the trophy. It'll be club captain and season 1 resident Bernabe, and Parma are the champions of Europe, and that is another rebuild successfully ticked off. So I just want to say a massive thank you for watching the video. If you did enjoy it, please make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel, as it really does help me out. We're getting very, very close now to 3,000 subscribers, and I will see you next week when we rebuild a team from the English Championship.